skipped that program. So those are really the only two programs I have intentionally missed on my own. I've had, like you, where the network is down or something. I've had that, storms, but for the most part, that's it. And doing the blues, and I also, before I went on the air, I used to do a lot of play-by-play, high school and college, every sport possible. In California, I even did women's fast pitch back in the 70s. Before it was a big thing out there long before it caught on everywhere else. And I did basketball, football, baseball, you name it. I've done that sports play-by-play thing. So, and I enjoy it. I say I've gone this long and I've never had a job because I do what I love. I've never hated getting up and going to work. Basically, I was a morning person. I did morning shows. I never hated going to work. Never hated it. It wasn't a job to me, and it still isn't.
What a gift.
Sometimes I wish I could be going to festivals on a Sunday, but I have my Sunday night program, but that's always come first. So, and then meeting people like Sandy and coming into the program, you played that new cut that she wrote, the very first cut on the album. Gypsy Road by Zach Harmon. Incidentally, the CD was produced by her husband, Jim Gaines, who is just a icon and a legend as far as producing is concerned. But Sandy's a very successful and great songwriter. My favorite by her that I play a lot is Mississippi Me.
Mm-hmm.
And the lyrics in that are so heavy. Bend me like a guitar string. I love that line. That's my all-time favorite line that comes out of that song.
Matter of fact.
And it's people like Sandy that make this whole thing just a blast to be part of.
I totally agree. And speaking of the sports, I know, sir, I've listened to you at some point in my life. Go Roll Alabama, Roll Tide, or some game. Right. I'm a sports junkie. I said long ago, if you gave me a medium choice, TV or radio, I'd take radio every day. I've listened to radio my whole life because it's a medium I could do things with. I could, play basketball, ride my bike, whatever it may be. But, all the things that you've helped people or, all the entertainment you've brought to the world. That's really cool stuff, my friend.
Right. Yeah. And that's the nice thing. And you've probably noticed that about Facebook Live as you have about your listeners. I mean, I have listeners on Facebook Live and the Blues Power over in Japan, Australia, Germany, just every state because, if you have a program like that and they can't get it anywhere else and they love it, they're going to find you. They're going to find you. They're going to find this program. They're going to find Who Magoo, because they can't find that everywhere.
No, and through what I've got set up here, and I started on Blog Talk Radio, which gave me a phone number, but then the quality wasn't very well. I mean, I'm all about the sound. It's got to be FM, JBL quality. This is how it's going to rock on my deal. And the other one is more of the AM, I call it. But when I got to figure it out with Skype and all that, I go out to Romania, I go to Denmark, I go over to Scandinavia. I go all over the world now. I can interview everybody. And, and through that, the music I play is getting out. AJ Weinberger, I got to interview him and talk to him in Ukraine and introduce the music to him and everybody else around here. And it's amazing what we can do now.
Let me turn the table. What got you into blues, Tom?
Honestly, my show. I used to do radio when I used to work for an internet business. I was on the AIM radio here in WTMJ for a while. I did one of those tech shows, Exec PC Internet Hour, as a sales guy. And then later on in life, I went back to Madison, did some theater acting and kind of stuff. Well, I had a class, and they said, well, if you want to make a 20-minute air check and get on the FM station at Madison, UW-Madison, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. And I created a show that was a parody. We had season tickets in my family. Packers, so I made it a Packer parody show, and my first show, God bless you, was called The Bears Still Suck. And the gentleman, A.J. Hodge, on WGN right now, the student, he promoted that. He for 2.5 years, I had various of that type of name of sports parody, but that's how I got on the FM dial on WSCM 91.7 in Madison for 2.5 years.
And just recently, Alabama and the state of Alabama and Green Bay lost an icon in Bart Starr, came from Alabama and up in Birmingham area and lost him. And that, he was loved throughout the state of Alabama. He really was. He was just an icon.
Yeah, and speaking of that, my show was on that premise of a sports family icon, good things, Bart Starr, Karma. Kind of a tailgate show. That's what I did. I had fun music, played. It was more of a, you joke with me, joke with you. But that's how I got involved. And then through my other ways in the internet, I learned about this and thought about this. They had a class, and I started putting this together. And I went from one thing to the next, and now with the technology, Gil, last night when I lost the internet, I went up in my living room, and I can pour it with my phone as my hotspot. I played the show last night.
Right. Oh, wow. Very good. Yeah.
Now, it cost a penny, because when I go out to my friends, I can go anywhere with my friends. I can live stream them. But I found out the data, whatever. I turned it off, but it's kind of a learning thing for me. The blues, the radio to make it work. So in a long story short, they started sending me all the music. And that's how I got introduced to the blues.
And I know when we were talking the other day, we talked yesterday, I guess, I was talking about as much, and it's many, many hours and 25 years of 5-hour programs I've done. I don't walk away from the program every night where I didn't learn something I did not know when the show started.
Yeah.
And, and that's the thing, that's the thing I love. Because I'm a nerd when it comes to songwriters and publishers and this type of thing. I tell you what, you want an interview, talk to Jim Gaines, Sandy's husband. He has more stories than you guys can go on for 5 days straight, if he lets you talk, because he has so many stories about everybody, because he's been there. I mean, he was in the studio when they got the word that Otis Redding died in Milwaukee, in the plane crash. I mean, he tells me he remembers when Isaac Hayes was a $75 a week songwriter at Stax, and they used to have to give him a couple of drinks to loosen him up so he would sing and play. And he produced Stevie Ray Vaughan's Instep. He produced Luther Allison, Coco Montoya, Huey Lewis and the News. You name it, he did it. He's got stories, and that's what I love to hear. I've been honored to. And really, it is an honor. I've been blessed. I've been blessed with the people I've been able to interview that are no longer with us. And I always tell people, it's like talking to a history book. They were there. They were there. It's not where I read something in the book. Like Paul Osher, who's been a friend of mine for over 20 years, was the first non-African American to play in a Chicago blues band. He played with Muddy when he was 17 years old. And he was the first white guy to play in Muddy's band. Bob Margolin was the second, and Jerry Portnoy was the third. I mean, stuff like that. They were there. He tells me he's living in Muddy's basement. He's telling me the stories. Otis Spann lived up front. He lived in the back apartment in Muddy's basement. I mean, just like, you can't make that stuff up.
No, and it's...
That's what I love about it. That's what I love about it.
Oh, yeah, the people. The people and the families and everything that brings it together, and the stories and the history. It is true Americana. Learning about the blues.
It is. You're right.
When I started doing this, I had Carolyn Gaines on, and her father is Roy Gaines, and he's worked with... all those guys.
Yeah, and I've had Roy Gaines on my program. I interviewed Roy probably 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Roy played on a lot of the stuff people didn't know, but he played on a lot of the Motown stuff when Motown moved to the West Coast. Roy was a studio musician.
Yes.
Yeah, he played on Stevie Wonder cuts. I mean, Roy was a part of music history, and he was so interesting to talk to. That's why I say these guys were there. They really were.
And Big J McNeely. All those Carolyn.
Yeah.
So what Carolyn did when I did these shows, I try to put ideas when you asked me about the blues or how I came to start doing this. When I got a hold of Carolyn, we did shows on Ma Rainey. And those ladies was kind of our little history thing we did for a couple of weeks.
Right.
Just trying to do the history of the blues. So all of this is what this all, is cool about this, to bring everybody together.
Yeah, it's never ending. It's never ending what you could play. I could just sit there and play music all night. That's basically what I listen to. I'm constantly getting new music in all the time. I'll get in my car and drive and just listen to new music so I can concentrate on, I like that cut. I'm going to play that cut. That cut really sticks out, and whatever. But I just don't listen to blues either. When I take a road trip, I'll have everything from George Jones to Led Zeppelin to, Van Morrison to like you said, Big J McNeely, whoever, that's what I have.
And and I'm also blessed too. I have the Blues but MTS Records with Michael Stolfer. I have quite a catalog of country that comes my way also. So the thing that I've heard from artists about my show, any show playing a lot of music, there's no revenue, man. There's no tick 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 every time I play anybody. This is all permission. Every artist has to give me permission or know of their friend, co-writer, whatever it may be, for me to play. There's no other way. There are other ways, but that's another coinage or whatever. You can open up an independent door, but then you have to pay to play the Who or whatever it may be. But I don't really like that.
Right.
I like to have people come to me, know me, and make it happen. That's what's my fault.
And I'll tell you what, that's the one thing, that is one of the big reasons I do both of my shows at basically a locally owned radio station. They're both different. They're in two different towns. They're mom and pop radio stations, and we're already licensing. We're already paying for a licensing fee, so I don't really have to worry about that end. But a lot of these people that start these internet programs, they don't realize that, hey, there are BMI and ASCAP fees to pay.
Yes.
So that's one thing. If you get connected with a commercial station, they're already paying the fees, so you don't have to worry about that.
Right. And in my world, as long as the artist gives me, they're giving it to me, and I can do that with their free will. So I'll tell you what, sir, take a little break. I got thing I love to do when it comes over an idea. Mississippi Me. I have it ready to go. Let's do it right now.
Yeah.
Sandy
fantastic. Clara. Great song. Just listen to the lyrics. Oh, my gosh. It'll raise hair on your arms.
Here it is. Thank you. We'll be right back.
I know it's late, the fourth day straight, another traffic jam. I know that we thought we'd cut loose and paint the town. Oh, but let's unwrap our minds and get tangled up like two honeysuckle vines. You can bend me like a guitar string and kiss me like a delta rain. Soothe me with your sugar cane. I'll melt you in my love like honey from Tupelo. Switch on that little stereo. Elvis is crooning low. I whisper through the willow trees, Pascagoula deep, Mississippi me. It's our time, ain't nothing gonna worry me. And I just need you to unhurry me and bend me like a guitar string and kiss me like the delta rain. Soothe me with your sugar cane. I'll melt you in my love, honey, just like Tupelo. Switch on that little stereo. Elvis is crooning low. And you can be my honeybee, my magnolia tree, Mississippi me. Baby, bend me like a guitar string and kiss me like the delta rain. Soothe me with your sugar cane. Melt me in your love like honey from Tupelo. Switch on that little stereo. Elvis is crooning low. Whisper through the willow trees, Pascagoula deep, Mississippi me. Mississippi.